Yo, it's Friday night, 9 p.m. sharp. You know what time it is.
Narcocop and Timmy T hitting you with that Lambo energy.
He's Mike by name, but the streets call Narcocop. Used to bust dealers, now he's busting long shots. Retired badge, now he's bad with the bets. Octagon fiend, cashing slips, no regrets. Friday night fights, Seki poured on ice. Lambo plays podcast, breaking down the price. Got parlays, KO, subs in round 3. Split decision magic, cash it like a G. Lambo plays, it's a wild parade. Long shots flying, getting that paid. Tim with impressions, Narco's got the locks. Whisper bet of the week, gonna shock your socks. Lambo plays, the odds go cray. Spin that wheel, it's a betting ballet. KO's to be round 2 or 3. Hit that split, cashing big LFG. Tim Troiano, lotion in hand. Tennis coach by day, fight fan of the land. Watching WMMA, yeah, you know the drill. Playing with himself, just joking, but still. Impressions fly, Katona in the house. Roses Jr. squeaking, Tim's loud like a mouse. Cornholio vibes, he's stealing the show. Narcos like bruh, but they still go toe to toe. Round 2 chaos, round 3 gold. Split decisions, bets unfold. Sake sipping, parlays lit. Lambo energy, never quit. Lambo plays, it's a wild parade. Long shots flying, getting that paid. Tim with impressions, Narco's got the locks. Whisper bet of the week, gonna shock your socks. Lambo plays, the odds go cray. Spin that wheel, it's a betting ballet. KOSOB round 2 or 3. Hit that split, cashing big LFG. Narcocop, Timmy T, Friday nights, the Lambo Plays podcast. Where long shots live large and splits hit harder. We out. We out. We out.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Lambo Plays Podcast, episode 143, UFC 319. I'm your host, Mike, and this is a special show on a Saturday. It was my anniversary last night, and my wife would not let me get away with it, so we did have to go out. I had to delay the show one more day. Tim, unfortunately, cannot be here today. He is working. He is a high-level tennis instructor, and he needs to instruct his students today. So we won't have Tim today, but we do have a very special guest, a good friend of the show, a good friend of mine. And it is Mr. DieHard MMA himself, Clint. What's up, my man? Thank you for joining. Thank you for the short notice replacement, we're going to call you this week. You came in on 2 days' notice, so you beat this Bysunger guy who came in on 4 days' notice here. So appreciate you coming on the show. How do you feel about UFC 319? A great freaking card, Clint.
Man, this card is awesome. First off, congratulations to you and Mrs. Narco. Happy anniversary to you guys. And I appreciate you offering me a catch weight because there was no way I was making weight on 2 days' notice, but I'm here. This card is awesome, man. It's got some name value. It's got some old dogs on it. It's got some young up-and-coming talent. Like this card really has kind of everything that you're looking for. And the headliner might be the fight I've looked forward to most this year. So, like, I'm pumped. I can't wait for this card to get started.
Yeah, I mean, that main event, I mean, everybody's waiting for that thing, right? Like, is there a single soul that likes MMA that's not waiting for that fight between DDP and Chimaev? I mean, Chimaev's been out for a while now. I mean, when was the last time? Usman? So, yeah, we're going to see, man. 5-round fight. My God, I can't wait for this entire card. I actually like a lot of fights here. So, with that being said, you know, let me go over and shout out my chat. 257 live viewers already. We might hit a record today. Can we get over 1K? We will see. Clint is bringing in all the people here. First one in the house, Elijah Wan. Let's effing go, my man. Mushroom, what's up? 5 more hours until violence. but it's not Narco and Tim. It's Narco and Clint today. Dixon, thank you for not leaving us hanging, Narco. Welcome to the show, Clint. Don't forget to trust your beep. I hope the rumors aren't true. Heard Tim got arrested. Oh, God. No, definitely not true.
He had to catch the prop bet.
Yeah. Tim does not do those kind of things. Come on. High-level tennis training coach. Do not ruin that name. Azure, thank you, Narcocop, for making us on an anniversary celebration weekend. Thank you, Clint, for joining us. Smash the like button, and let's effing go, everyone. Jackie Blaine, check the clock 5 times this morning, not to tell the time, but to see how much longer until Narco and Clint blessed my TV. Happy 16th anniversary to the Narcos. Appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. Lambo shopping time after this card. That would be very nice. If true, subhuman. Let's get it, lads. Oreo in the house. DA07 Saturday Lambo show means a sweep. Oh, boy. That would be nice. William Tyner, this is one of those cards. I know you're going to crush the live betting. Yeah, live betting has been definitely very, very good. Bailey, what up, my friend? Moyes in the house. Timmy is, again, coaching tennis. Not in the AM, bro. Thank you very much. Appreciate your trouble. Let's effing go, boys. Let's get it. Happy anniversary. Thank you, my man. The intro song lines about Tim and the lotion always get me. Let's cash the tickets.
That killed me.
Congrats on the anniversary, Narco. Yeah, Kingler. Sometimes I think I maybe need to remove that, but it does say I'm just joking. So we'll take it. Marcus Erickson, thank you very much. Wifey looks like a smoke show. Thank you, man. I appreciate that very much. Tim, what's up, my man? Thank you for joining, and thank you for that as well. What else do we have here? A bunch of happy anniversaries. Appreciate you all. Luke Fulton says Clintus. Yep, Clintus is in the house. Let's go. Thanks for doing the show as always, guys. Says thanks, Steven. Boy, we have a lot of comments here. But again, thank you, everyone. Appreciate everyone that's in here. 355 and climbing, Clint. And with that being said, we have some fights to break down. First fight of the night. It is in the flyweight division. It is the tough finale for the flyweight division. It is the 10-0 Alibi Idris versus the 12-2 former UFC fighter Joseph Morales. Currently odds minus 500. Alibi Idris versus the Joseph Morales, the veteran, at plus 375. So kick us off here, Clint. What do you like as far as props? Maybe even a money line, because a money line here is technically a Lambo parlay.
Yeah, how crazy, man, that the money line could be the Lambo piece here for this one. These guys are coming off of the Ultimate Fighter, so this fight is coming together a little, not short notice. They knew about it, right? But the bookies are a little bit behind on these tough fights every single time. I like what I've seen from Idris. This dude has crazy balance. He's crazy athletic. He's 10-0, undefeated. I mean, you go back and watch some of his highlights, and he hits this dude changing directions with like a flying knee and then an uppercut to put him out on the other side. He's so fast twitch. I love how explosive he is. I really like him to win this fight. Joseph Morales, like you mentioned, he's already had a stint in the UFC. I feel like it got done just a little bit dirty. It was all the way back in 2018, and he got knocked out by Davison Figueiredo and then lost a split. And on 2 losses, they cut him. So it was like, man, that he probably could have stuck around for a little bit longer after that. But I don't know that he's got much for Idris, if I'm being honest, man. So the money line, it feels like it's wide, but I think that Idris is going to win this fight. The one thing that we've seen from Morales is that he's been really tough throughout his career. The only guy to actually finish him was Davison Figueiredo. So I want to say that Idris can knock him out, but I don't know if Idris has got Davison Figueiredo style power. You know what I mean? So this one's tough. Like if I'm giving you like a true read on what I think happens, it's hard to find a Lambo. I'd have to go like KO TKO round 3, like wear him down and beat him up over the course of the fight. That's like plus 850 for a round 3 KO from Idris. Even if I go with decision, it's like plus 110 now. So they're just really crunching the prices on the side that I like here, man. So I'll say round 3 KO for the sake of the show. But I think Idris is the side.
Yeah, pre-tape, honestly, I thought maybe I'm going to get to Morales. I'm like, yeah, 500. What the hell against the UFC veteran, a guy that's been in the UFC, who's probably not going to have UFC jitters here second time around, Alibi, he could, man. Making your UFC debut in a card like this, 319 is, it's not easy, right? But the thing that I like, and usually I don't say these things because, we talk about prospects, we talk about people like that, but Alibi is not young. He's not one of those 22-year-olds coming in here. The guy is, I think, 30 or 31. So, he's up there in age. He's not gonna, I don't think that the bright lights here are gonna shut him down, because honestly, when he's performed in the regional scene, in that NASA thing, he's not faced bums there, man. He's faced actually, some of these guys you look at, and the one Brazilian that's 14-2 now. I mean, he's not a bad fighter. That Erison Ferreira guy, I don't know if you remember him. He was on Contender Series before. Do you remember that guy?
I don't.
Erison Ferreira fought against on Contender Series. Who did he fight? Jesus Aguilar.
Oh,
it was a back and forth matchup, and then Aguilar guillotined him in round 3. So he's not faced like bad fighters, counting based on it being the regional scene, right? And a couple of these Russians he's beat are actually pretty damn good when you watch tape. Like, they're not bad fighters. So, like you mentioned, like, man, he's just so well-rounded, man. He can grapple. He can strike. He's got elite cardio, man. I've seen his 5-round fight. Like, this guy keeps pushing, nonstop motion. Can shoot and land takedowns late in fights. And I like the variety of strikes, man. They're everything. I mean, jumping knees, spinning wheel kicks, spinning kicks to the body. I mean, all types of stuff, and super springy. The guy is very, very springy. So when I watch Joseph Morales, I think he's a solid fighter. I don't think, that being a plus 380 makes him look like a bum. I don't think he's a bum. He's actually a pretty solid fighter. The problem is the matchup here for him. Like, I don't think he's better anywhere outside of pure jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
Pure jiu-jitsu, he's probably the better jiu-jitsu guy. He's a high-level black belt. He's good on the ground. When you look at his career, almost all of his wins are by sub when he finishes. And he's super dangerous on the ground, if the fight hits the mat. But like, when I watch him, even in his last tough fight against the Imanol Rodriguez, who actually made the UFC, and I thought he deserved it, that kid. You see, him losing some of the scrambles on the feet. He doesn't look very comfortable, and I don't think he's going to be comfortable here on the feet, to be honest. And when we talk about him trying to get the fight to the ground, I really don't see him out grappling this kid. So I'm going to go with KO 2-3 here. Actually, it's 380. This kid is dangerous, man. And he'll keep coming. He'll push a high pace. I know it's flyweights, but some of the things that I don't like from Morales is how he reacts to shots. I don't really like what I see, honestly, when it comes to that. I know Figueiredo hits very hard, but even Imanol in Contender Series, he was not liking the shots on the feet. So I'm going to take a shot here, 2-3 KO on this newcomer here. I think he's the goods, honestly. I think this guy can compete with a lot of guys at 125. So we'll see. Moving on, fight number 2. It is in the flyweight division. It is the 18-5 Carini Silva versus the 8-3 Diane Barbosa. This is a rematch. The first match, Barbosa won, 6 years ago or something. It was a while back. And when you look at both of the girls, I do think both of them have kind of improved. But I think Carini Silva has improved a lot more than Barbosa. The other thing, Carini Silva coming off a loss almost a year ago, right, to the veteran in Araujo. She's now taking a step down, in my opinion, against Diane Barbosa. And You know, when it comes to technical striking, I do think that Barbosa is better technically, but the girl with more explosive power, that's a lot more explosive, is definitely Karine Silva. And then I think there's a big physicality edge, to be honest now. You know, back 6 years ago, there might have not been a big physicality edge, right, when they first went up against each other. And the grappling was kind of 50-50. If you watch that fight, there was a lot of leg locks, a lot of weird stuff going on in that fight, to be honest. And I think there's a big strength advantage here for Karine Silva getting the fight to the mat. 42% takedown defense. When you look at, you know, her Contender Series fight, she was easily taken down by that girl Guerrero. Karakate took her down one time. Miranda Maverick kind of did whatever she wanted with her, right? And yeah, maybe Karine Silva's not as good of a wrestler, let's say, as Maverick, but she's probably right there with her as far as strength, right? And if she can get on top, if Maverick can stay there, why can't Silva, who's got way better BJJ than Miranda Maverick? So when I look at this fight, I think, you know, at first I'm like, yeah, maybe KO, you know, because she hits hard and it's a big number. She does have a lot of KOs, but I think the big advantage is on the ground. And I know Barbosa is a brown belt. I know she's pretty good on the ground, but there's levels. And I think Silva is like at least a tier or two above her. So when you give me sub at plus 440, you know, on a girl that's minus, you know, 200, and she is, don't get it twisted, she's a finisher. You know, when you look at this girl's record, she's got 17 finishes out of her 18 wins. She is absolutely a finisher. And I think she finishes Diane Barbosa by submission at plus 440. I know she's never been subbed, right? I know she's never been subbed, but who has she grappled that's as good as Silva? And maybe Bishop, but I honestly truly think there's going to be a big strength advantage here for Karine Silva. And I think on the mat, she's going to find something, and she hunts for a lot of submissions. Clint, what do you like here?
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. I've never been like a huge believer in Karine Silva. She's one of those Brazilian prospects that I felt like just looks terrible on like her regional footage, where it seemed almost like Mimi when she's getting the wins and stuff like that, that like I kind of felt like it was smoke and mirrors for the most part. And then she gets to the UFC and she just looks like a killer the second that she gets here. And so I've always kind of had this built-in bias against her that I'm like, she can't be that good. You know what I mean? Diane Barbosa, I feel like she's somebody who could look a bit like Vivi did in the last fight with Karine Silva, where she can kind of match the physicality. And I kind of feel like that's where a lot of Karine Silva's success comes from, is her being so brutally strong and physical and just kind of being able to do whatever she wants against who's in the cage with her. And I kind of felt like Vivi exposed her somewhat, that it's like, if you're not able to get away with just being the bully in there, you lose a lot of that edge. You lose a lot of that finishing upside. You're not just going to rip people's knees apart when they're good, you know? So I think Diane Barbosa is going to compete. The fact that she won the first fight, she's not 37, you know, she's 33. She's only like 2 years older than her. Maybe Karine Silva's improving rapidly. Maybe Karine Silva's catching up to her, but she's 31. You know, it's not like she's a young prospect on the way up or anything either. I think these two are both closer to being who they're gonna be than one of them being a prospect. So I kind of feel like the fight plays out a lot like the last one. And I'm going to shout out Tim. I don't have my bottle of lotion with me for him here, but I'm going to say the fight ends by split. I'm going to say fight ends by split at plus 330. I think it's close. I think it goes to a decision. And I actually kind of like the plus 3.5 spread on Diane Barbosa, because I could see her winning one round and then still losing the fight.
Yeah. I do want to say I kind of agree with you. I faded Karine Silva actually last fight against Our Usual at a big plus money price. And I mean, part of my reasoning was the physicality. I thought Our Usual can match, you know, the physicality. But yeah, I mean, if Barbosa is able to match physicality here, I do think she's live. I do think I don't know about her physicality. She looks kind of weak to me, but you know, I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong here. And then it could be very sketchy, you know, and your split probably looks good. Honestly, if this stays on the feet, yeah, split probably looks really, really good.
I could just see it being back and forth, Diane winning small moments on the feet, little bit more volume, Karina getting some takedowns, getting a little bit of top time. Like, who the hell knows one at the end.
And I mean, line is coming down, minus 190 right now on Karine Silva. There's been a lot of buyback after she hit like 225. So
wow.
A lot of money coming in on Barbosa. So they are agreeing with you. They're agreeing that, she might be the side at plus money. I'm on the opposite side. I have a ticket on Karine Silva for 2 units, but all these prices, by the way, bet online. I do have the links down below. If you don't have an account, get it. I think it's very useful for MMA. Also, sportsbetting.ag. It's a clone of Bet Online. It's also a link down below. All right. With that being said, fight number 3. It is in the lightweight division. It is the 24-12. Edson Barbosa versus the 15-3-1. Jakar. Close. I can kick this one off. Clint is a little busy.
Sorry about that. My mom was calling.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. If you want to go, you can go. It's yours.
No. I was just asking my wife to go grab the phone.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. It's yours. It's your fight anyway. So go ahead. Edson Barbosa, Jakar close. What do you like here?
Dude, this one's kind of got me tied up in knots. I'm gonna be honest. So Edson Barbosa, he's just been killing himself to cut so much weight down to 145 for years now. And he still looks pretty damn good. Like, I keep waiting for Edson to look old. I keep waiting for him to fall off and be like, he's killing himself. He's old as dirt. There's no way this guy can perform at a high level. And then he goes 25 minutes with the dark horse of the weight class and goes a full 5-round main event decision with Lerone freaking Murphy, busts his face up, has him lumped the entire fight. Like, he just keeps doing the dang thing. So I'm like, man, I got to stop like waiting for Edson to fall off because he's just not going to do it apparently. So now he's moving up to 155. And he looked huge when they faced off, man. He's bigger than Jakar Close moving up a weight class. He's still ripped as hell. It looks like you stuffed hot dogs in his stomach. He's got these giant ab muscles popping out everywhere. Jakar Close, local guy, right? Trains out here in Arizona. He's training with Tim Welsh and O'Malley these days, which you love to see. He's 37 years old, so he's a little bit long in the tooth himself. He's kind of a grinder at the UFC level, right? Like, he's got power. He's really physical. He's strong. But he's also not like the best wrestler you've ever seen. So it's more like, cage control and grinding guys. And we've seen him get tired a couple times. We've seen him get knocked out a couple times. Like, that last fight was a real bad look. I know Yoel Alvarez is the biggest weight bully in the entire division. So, no shame really losing that one. But he's been off since December after getting brutally KO'd in that fight. And his fight opposition before that, it's kind of lacking, man. Joaquin Silva, Joe Selecki, Hoffa Garcia. It's like he's not really fighting contender level guys. He's not fighting Edson Barbosa level guys. The thing that kind of came out this week, though, apparently Edson is potentially retiring. Like, this might be his retirement fight, he said on a podcast, which for me, that's huge. Like, as soon as you mentally are checked out and saying I'm done and retiring, like, the amount of fighters that say going in, this is my retirement fight, they just don't win. They just don't win that fight. I don't know if it's a mental letdown. I don't know if they, squeezed on their preparation a little bit because, I don't need to do 2 more rounds. This is my last fight. Like, I'm not sure what the reasoning is, but it seems like those fighters just never do very well. So I was kind of leaning Edson Barbosa early in the week, even though it kind of hurts my heart a little bit because I want to root for Jakar Close. But after hearing it's retirement season, I'm like, oh boy, like, now I can't put my money on Edson Barbosa, man. The thing that I want to look at here is like maybe a small sprinkle at a long shot. Edson Barbosa still has his spinning heel kicks. Jakar Close gets tired and he drops his hands. So I'm going to say Barbosa rides off into the sunset, round 3 spinning heel kick, 14-1. That'll be the Lambo move for me on this one because this number's crashing, man. It's all the way down to pick 'em. So it's probably another grimy, boring decision where it's a coin flip at the end of this thing. But for the Lambo show, I'll sprinkle that round 3 KO prop.
Yeah, minus 115, minus 105 now on Jakar Close. Kind of mad at myself, honestly. I taped this and I said this fight shouldn't be worse than pick 'em when Jakar Close was like 130, 140. And I probably should have played him. Based on what I thought, I don't know why I didn't pull the trigger. I did think this fight was probably a pick'em. Both guys are kind of old, right? Like let's not forget, one guy is 39 in Edson Barbosa, but Jakar Close is not very far behind. I think he's 37 or 38. Yeah, he's 37 years old, so he's not very young himself. The difference between the age on these guys is a lot more than 2 years when you talk about damage, right? Like Edson Barbosa, there's a crazy stat, man. I saw it and I'm like, what the hell? Is this real? I had to go back and look. And I will ask you, Clint, how many significant strikes without looking has Edson Barbosa had in the last 2 fights?
Oh,
versus,
man.
Versus Sadiq Youssef and LaRon Murphy.
How many he's landed or absorbed?
How many he's absorbed?
Okay. I mean, he's got to be
fights.
second only to Max Holloway, right? Like he's probably like in how the last 2 fights, the last 3 fights, would you say?
Last two.
Yeah. Okay, so the last 2 fights, I'm gonna say like 500.
No, 400, but it's insane, man. That's a lot of damage. 400 significant strikes in 2 fights you absorbed. And in both of those fights, hurt multiple times. Against Youssef, he was on death's door in round 1. Against Murphy, hurt many times, 2-3 times in that fight. Taking a lumping in the Murphy fight, right? Surviving, right? We're gonna give him that. He survived, but like sometimes I feel like, and maybe I'm crazy, I feel like you're better off just like getting finished early and not absorbing that much damage through 5 rounds, right? I think that's better for you long term. And obviously, when we talk about Barbosa, it's not long term anymore. The guy is probably going to retire soon. The thing with Jakar Close, honestly, is I do think he has like sneaky power. He has some pop in his hands, and losing to Joel Alvarez is like, I mean, is it that bad of a loss, right? I don't think it's terrible, honestly. Joel Alvarez right now is kind of running through everybody, and he just gave him that flying knee that I don't think many people could take. I do think Jakar Close is tough. Does he get hurt? Sure. He got hurt against Joaquim Silva, but dude, that guy hits like a truck. I mean, let's not forget, Joaquim Silva is the same guy that almost killed Arman Sarukian. People forget about that. He almost killed Arman Sarukian. So that guy hits very, very hard. The equalizer here for me, honestly, is the damage that obviously Barbosa's taken. But I do think Close can get this fight to the ground. I think he has decent wrestling. I've heard about his wrestling from MMA Lab. I talk to people and they say his wrestling is actually really good. He's a good grappler, good wrestler. His issue was that big neck injury he had for a while where it got him out and he was getting all this tingling during fights and all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, when you talk about, I want to add something to what you said about the retirement thing with Barbosa. If you listen to Close's interview, he said he might only have 2 fights in him too. And his kids are asking him to retire. And he's talking about there's other ways to make money. So I think both of these guys are very, very close to retirement, right? But I'm going to go with Close by decision here at plus 250. It's not the best, but I think that's his path. I don't think he has enough to knock out Barbosa. I think Barbosa is still at this age is pretty damn durable. Like even, I don't even want to say durable. He knows how to survive. Even when you hurt him, the guy knows how to survive. So, yeah, I mean, decision is plus 250. I think he can maybe mix in some wrestling. I think he can win some minutes. But yeah, on the feet, I do slightly lean to the Barbosa side. I think he has a lot crisper striking. He's a little bit more dangerous. He's got some highlight reel stuff, that Jakar Close doesn't really have those. But I think the mixing of takedowns, the cage control, the cage pushing, holding him up against the cage and doing some work, I think he can bank some minutes there. So I'm going to go with Jakar Close by decision, plus 250 here. I think it's a fair line. I think that's his most likely path to victory in a pick'em. Moving on. Fight number 4. It is in the lightweight division. It is the 16-8 Alexander the Great Hernandez versus the 16-3-1 Chase. What do they call him now? What's his nickname?
Isn't he
He's
still
got a
the
new
Dream, or did he change it?
No, they called him the Goon or something
The
something
Goon.
funny. Yeah, he called himself something funny, but
Chase
'cause
Gooner Hooper.
yeah, well, they have pictures of him all with a do-rag now. He's in Chicago, like
Oh,
in the
yeah.
bad neighborhoods. It's hilarious. But yeah, right now, currently, Chase Hooper minus 370. Comeback on Alexander Hernandez at plus 305. And I mean, I think this line's too big, man. I like Chase Hooper. I think he's getting better. I think he is, a decently well-rounded fighter. I would say his stand-up still needs some work. And when I say work, he's defensively flawed on the feet. He gets hit a lot. His head is right there. No head movement. But his striking is getting offensively, it's getting a lot better, right? He's working on it. He's getting better. His grappling, we already know, is super, super good on the ground. Very tricky, very long submissions. I mean, this guy throws up an insane amount of submissions. Like I looked at him like, Jesus, this guy, every single fight, he's throwing up a sub. I mean, he's got 5, 7, 9, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18 submission attempts in his UFC career in what, 10 fights? So like this guy is a submission attempt machine, and he gets a lot of them. That's the thing. He's so good on the ground. But I think they're underrating Alexander Hernandez, to be honest here. I really do. People have shit on this guy a lot. His cardio has looked suspect. He at times could be broken in rounds 2 and 3. All of that is true, and I don't disagree with that kind of stuff. But I do think that being at 155, the extra weight that he doesn't need to cut is definitely beneficial for his cardio, in my opinion. Just watching his last 2 fights, even though he slowed down in the Hubbard fight, but like Hubbard attempted 12 takedowns. Hubbard is a kind of guy, yeah, he's not great, but he's a pressure forward guy. He throws a lot of volume. He attempted a lot of takedowns, so, that fight was close. Don't get me wrong. And I had a Hubbard ticket there because I thought the volume, the wrestling, maybe eventually gets him down. He could potentially win a decision. But that wasn't the case. The thing is, what I don't like about Hooper is his wrestling. I don't think his wrestling is very good, right? And when I look at him a little bit deeper and look at who he's actually been beating, it's a little bit concerning, right? Like Clay Guida, 43 years old. Jim Miller, the takedown defense of, my 11-year-old. Like it just doesn't have good takedown defense, right? And he's old as hell. He's 41 years old. Slava Borishev, that fight was kind of weird because he instantly hurt Slava, and after that, it was just pouncing on top of him. It wasn't like it was a takedown, and then, he just dropped him, got on top, and just did work on him, right? And then, obviously, the Jordan Levitt one, he finished him early, which is, it's fair. It's a fair win. But, like, the one guy that was very physical and a big puncher, he absolutely put his lights out, in Steve Garcia. So I know that was a while ago. I know that was, 3 years ago. But Alexander Hernandez kind of has, similar attributes in the sense that he's very physical. I mean, he's a strong guy, and he hits hard. You could think whatever you want about this guy. He actually has good power. And if he lands on you, ask Beneil Dariush what can happen. So like, and I love Beneil, but he has one-punch power. So I do think in this fight, he's going to probably leg kick a lot. I think kicks are going to be there for him. He's a good kicker. He's got the better footwork of the two. He's the better striker of the two. And I think outside of a jumping, like getting him on the fence and then kind of getting his back, like Hooper jumping his back, I don't think it's going to be easy for him to get his back or get him down, man. I really don't. And in a bigger cage, it favors Hernandez. So for me, I'm going to go with Hernandez decision here at 650. I think he can win a decision. Absolutely. He can outpoint him on the feet, circle, move. And and maybe he slows down. Maybe Hooper gets him later, which is definitely live here because Hooper is a guy that comes on later. But if he can't take him to the ground, how could this fight be a minus 370 Chase Hooper? And when we look at Hooper, like, there's nobody in the world that can tell you he's a good wrestler right now. You know, he needs work in the wrestling department, and he needs to gain some more physicality when he's fighting at 55. So, in his recent fights at 55, I just feel like the opponents have been kind of perfect for him. You know, what do you have here, Clint?
Yeah, I'm on the other side on this one. I'm buying in. I'm believing in the Hooper hype, man. So I've actually got a 2-leg parlay with Liz Carmouche from last night in the PFL that's anchoring on Chase Hooper here. So need to get it no matter how it gets done, right? I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I also I want to buy these kids that are 24, 25, 26 that are getting their chops in the UFC. You know what I mean? He's on an upward trend. The UFC has been bringing him along appropriately, in my opinion. And I feel like, yeah, he's been fighting guys that not super impressive here in this day and age, but he's handling them. Round 1 sub, round 2 sub, round 1 sub. Like, it's not competitive. So it's not like he's going life and death with these old guys. You know, Jim Miller gave him a little bit of trouble, but that was it. Everybody else, he's just dicing and getting out of there immediately, man. And I hear what you're saying, and I do feel like he's growing into his frame. Like, you've seen some veins popping on him a little bit. You've seen a little bit more muscle on his frame the last couple of fights. So, like, I think he's getting there, and he's way bigger than Alexander Hernandez, taller, I guess I should say. So I do think there's some ways, whether it's pulling guard to cause a scramble, hanging on his hips, climbing him and jumping on his back. You know, I think there's a lot of ways he can force grappling scrambles like that. And his striking is getting better. And you're talking about the kicks and stuff like that. He's so long, man. I think he can do some point striking work in this kind of a fight, just because he's going to have the height and the reach advantage on a guy like Hernandez. And we've seen Alexander Hernandez in his last couple of fights. He's going life and death and going to split decisions with Hubbard and Jackson. And he was getting TKO'd by Billy, you know, another cardio machine in round 3 not too long ago. I know it was, you know, down a weight class, but like, that's the kind of stuff for me that I'm like, hey, if we can count on this guy to slow down against a kid who's getting better and cranks up, I'm like, round 1 might be sketchy. The way I see Alexander Hernandez winning this fight is if he's able to hit takedowns and then just covers his hips. If he just wet blankets him, says, I'm not moving, I'm just sitting on your hips so you can't attack anything, and we do that for 15 straight minutes, that's kind of the path to victory for Hernandez, in my opinion, for this fight. If we get into scrambles, if it gets hairy late, I think subs are live. I think KOs are live. I think just a volume-based decision is live. Like, I think there's a lot of ways that Chase Hooper can win this fight. I'm going to go round 3 sub. Like, again, I'm kind of cheating here because, guys, it is hard these days. Like, we used to be able to get bad lines on this stuff, and you could get a Chase Hooper sub here at 3-1. It's plus 160 now. They're not giving you any kind of a break on favorite props anymore. So Chase Hooper round 3 is plus 650. I think it's round 3 or decision. I wouldn't be shocked at all with this step up in competition being a test for Chase and him having to squeeze to a decision here. But I also think that if he pushes the pace the right way, and even if there is grappling stuff going on, that we can see Hernandez slow down, and we've seen him subbed before. So a kid like Chase could hit him with an ankle lock that he doesn't see coming. Hooper can take his back off of a scramble and a knee bar attempt, get his back and sink in a rear naked choke. Like, I think there's ways for him to finish this fight. So yeah, I'll say Hooper round 3.
Yeah, I mean, as far as submissions, he has so many different ways to get it. You know, heel hooks, you name it. Like, the guy's really good on the ground, and he's very creative. You know, he's a creative kid on the ground. So, yeah, that's definitely possible. And it's interesting matchup. I think this is probably his toughest fight on paper to date, I would say, for Chase Hooper, outside of Steve Garcia. I mean, he lost that one, but Steve Garcia, obviously, at the time, no one would say that. But yeah, now, I mean, Steve Garcia has looked the part. So we will give him his flowers. All right, moving on. Fight number 5. It is in the strawweight division. It is the 26-14 Jessica Andrade versus the 13-5 Lupita Godinez. Clint, hopefully you don't have your lotion out for this one.
Hey, no disrespect. Everybody can love a muscular woman. There's nothing wrong these days. Man, earlier in the show, you said you wished you had jumped early on the price tag. This one's mine. I wish I had jumped early on the price tag here. We're down to closer to pick 'em, and I think it was dog or pass. And Jessica Andrade at plus 170 sounds like it's probably a nice ticket to be holding right about now. I think this is a close fight, man. Lupi has shown us time and time again that she doesn't always follow the right game plan. If you want her to wrestle, she'll go in there and box. And her boxing is getting better, granted, but it's not her best path to victory. It's not her main weapon. And Lupi is very small, even at 115 pounds. So we have seen Jessica Andrade, doing her Kevin Holland speed run of her UFC career. She's gotten taken down and grinded on people before. They've been able to beat her with the wrestling, but Lupi is not a big monstrous fighter at 115 pounds. In fact, Jessica Andrade is the larger of the two women here. So while I know that game plan can still work for Lupi, she's very physical, she's very strong. She's not the caliber of the people that have just been doing it to Jessica Andrade recently. I think this is a close fight. I think Andrade is super live. I think this is a step up in competition for Lupi, and it all comes down to, does she come in with the right game plan? Does she fight the right style? Is she really going to kind of capture the hype that people thought she might have had when she first got to the UFC? Or not, because she's failed every time she's taken a step up in competition. So I think it's dog or pass, man. I like Jessica Andrade here in this fight. I do think that it will be close, and I do think that we have to respect the power on both sides of the fight. And I think the boxing of Lupita Godinez is going to make it closer on the feet than Andrade backers would like it to be. So, once again, shout out Tim. I'm going to say split decision. Plus 300. I think it's a close fight. I think it's back and forth. I will say Andrade ever so slightly edges it, though, with like power shots, and I think it's going to be damage versus control. And Andrade gets a slight greasy split decision nod here.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I have some things on this fight that are pretty eye-opening. And I think maybe they might change people's minds on the opinion on this fight. At current price, Andrade is plus 120 on BetOnline, minus 140 on Godinez. I like Andrade here quite a bit, to be honest. At plus money, I think she should be the favorite actually in this fight. And there's a couple of reasons, and a couple of reasons that are backed by some very good stats, and some very good visuals in general. One, Lupita Godinez's striking defense is probably one of the worst at 115. Like, she does not move her head at all. Zero movement from her head. Go back and watch every single fight. There's no head movement. It's right on the center line, come forward, throw punches to eat punches, right? And the one thing with Godinez that I've noticed is her nose gets busted up in almost every fight. She's bleeding every single fight, right? But outside of that, when you look at the girls that she's faced, Clint, none of these girls are like huge punchers. None of them, right? Carnelossi hits hard, but she couldn't do anything. Carnelossi was on the mat for 14 out of the 15 minutes, She was just getting ragdolled there, right? The one time that Lupita Godinez has moved up to 125, she lost the fight to Luana Carolina, right? She had a hard time getting her down, right? Because Lupita Godinez is honestly a small girl. Even at 115, like, she's small. Look at Andrade, right? Andrade was bigger than her. And Andrade
never has a size advantage.
Andrade, that's my other point, Clint. Andrade is the smaller girl in the cage every single fight, right? Now, let's go back also, Clint. Who has Andrade lost to? Look at these names. Jasmine Jasnavicius. She's going to be fighting for the title soon. Natalia Silva, probably the best prospect. Tatiana Suarez, one of the best grapplers that fought for the belt. Zhao Yanan, Erin Blanchfield, Valentina Shevchenko, Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang, Joan Jacek was a champion. Look at these names she's lost to, Clint. Are any of them in the vicinity of Lupita Godinez.
It's
No,
not even close.
absolutely not. It's not even close. And the other eye-opening stat I will give you, Clint, in 17 UFC fights at 115 for Jessica Andrade, tell me how many times she's been taken down.
Ooh,
Guess it.
at 115 pounds. I'll say she's
17 UFC fights at 115.
17 fights
times?
at 150. I'm gonna say six times she's been taken down.
5 times. 5 times.
Oh, that was close.
And in those 17 fights, right, Clint, in how many of those fights has she been taken down?
Only 2.
Correct. You already saw this probably. And those two
I don't even have my stats up. I just did my research, baby. People say I don't tape study, Narco.
It's Tatiana Suarez and Tisha Torres. That's it. And Suarez is a huge 115-pounder that's elite at wrestling. So that's my point, right? 17 UFC fights, only 2 girls have taken her down at 115. And when you watch her takedown defense against Blanchfield, it's really good. It's really good. She's digging underhooks. She's strong. When you watch her takedown defense against Suarez, Suarez is struggling to get her down. She's chain wrestling, right, to get her down. It's a different level when you talk. Godinez is a good wrestler, but against 2, right? And on the feet, I don't think it's close, man, because the power is crazy different. And I'll add one more thing for you in this fight. Why I really like Andrade here. She's got very nasty inside and outside leg kicks. And Godinez is very lead leg heavy. She's boxing, she's lead leg heavy, and she gets her leg kicked. Ducati, for whatever fucking reason in that fight, decided to not leg kick until later on in the fight. I'm like, well, what happened? You're a great calf kicker. Why didn't you kick this girl that's leg is sitting there for you to destroy, right? So, yeah, man, I like Jessica Andrade here. It could be KO. Don't get me wrong. I do think Godinez is very tough. So I'm gonna go with decision at plus 300. But I don't understand. I really don't understand the plus money here. Like she made weight. Actually, she made weight easy. She looked great on the scales, which you want to see, and her cardio is good. Jessica Andrade's cardio is good. And I'll add one more thing before I go on. What if, Clint, Jessica Andrade ends up on top of her? That's the other if, because Andrade on top is really, really good. And she is a black belt, and she's very good on top and strong. So, there's nothing I like about Godinez in this fight. I think this is a nightmare matchup for her, in my opinion. And at plus money right now, I know you were hesitant to say that the line. I only played her at plus 130, and I think it's still pretty good value at plus money. To be honest, I don't think it should be plus money here.
I'm in. Let's go. Hit the button.
I mean, I broke down I did a lot of tape study and a lot of stuff on this fight before I pulled the trigger, and I just feel like Andrade is the side here. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, listen, the other thing is, before this is a long breakdown, I'm sorry, but the other thing is she got up 2 different times against Suarez on top. Do we really think Godinez is going to hold down Andrade when fucking Suarez couldn't really hold her down? Right? I don't know. Who's the better wrestler?
No chance.
Holy moly. All right. Nandalal, $100 dono. Who's got it better than us? He says nobody. And I appreciate that very, very much. I mean, I got the best chat, Clint. I'm sorry, but I know you love your chat. Everybody loves their chat, but I love my chat. I appreciate them very much. Nanandal, thank you very, very, very much for the generous donation that I'm definitely going to put towards this podcast to improve it and do anything else that I can improve with bringing in guests, you name it. So appreciate that. Thank you very much for the $100 dono. I think that's the biggest dono ever for my channel. So I do appreciate that. Very, very nice donation. Thank you again. All right, Clint. Fight number 6. All right. It is in the middleweight division. It is the 37-19 GM3 Gerald Meerschaert versus the 20-9 Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. And I can tell you one thing here is I love the move that Mikhail made going to the Fighting Nerds. This guy needed coaching. This guy needed people to round out his game. They needed a game plan, and the Fighting Nerds are probably the hottest camp or gym in the entire MMA scene, in my opinion. Like, so many people are going there. So many people are improving their games. Just look at what's his name? The grappler is striking last time against Gore, Vieira. Look at Rodolfo Vieira. That was one camp at the Fighting Nerds, and his striking looked better already, man. Like the jab, the everything. Oh, one more thing I do want to mention. I don't know if you knew this, Clint, but Carini Silva, 29 weeks at the Fighting Nerds for this fight. So I really like that too. I forgot to mention that.
It's a good note.
It's a very good note, I think. I think
as long as we're going back in time, Narco. It's the rocking the Chase Hooper shirt, by the way, for the show today.
Boy.
So.
Oh boy. But the one thing is, Carini Silva has bad fight IQ, and I think that camp can clearly help her with the fight IQ. But going back to this fight, Meerschaert's super dangerous on the ground. Like, let's not get it twisted. The guy has 29 submissions. Super, super dangerous if the fight hits the ground. He's attacking, dangerous. But on the feet, this is all Mikhail. I love him going to the body. I love the body shots to discourage, people shooting on you, getting takedowns. He hits very, very hard, man. Like, clearly people do not like when this guy hits them. And, GM3, even though he hasn't been knocked out many times, and I think it's only been 4 in his entire MMA career, over 56 fights, I do think he gets hurt a lot. He got hurt 2 times versus Tavares, who's not the biggest puncher, and that was the last fight. He got hurt against the Ritter, right? And when he's faced, the thing is, when he's faced the bigger punchers, he's been knocked out. Joe Pyfer put him to sleep. Khamzat put him to sleep. And I think Oleksiejczuk is going to put him to sleep. I love the move to the Fighting Nerds. I think this is going to revive Oleg's career, in my opinion. And the one thing I will tell you is, when you look at the Dumas fight, which is the first camp, it was a lot different Oleksiejczuk. You know how? He was aggressive, but he was a controlled aggression. He was not going crazy. He was just kind of touching up Dumas until he hit him with the right punch and then went for the kill, right? So I think he's going to take his time here. They're going to tell him, hey, listen, be careful early. This guy might try to shoot on you, obviously, try to get you down, stuff the takedowns, work the body, and then eventually you'll get to him. You'll finish this guy. So I'm going to go with just the only thing I can go with is KO2 for Mikhail. It's 5-1. Is not the best price, but I just feel like maybe he kind of does the same game plan, right? Take your time. There's no rush here. Work the body, soften this guy up, and then you can work him and land something big up top. So plus 500, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, round 2 KO. I think he gets it done, man. I really do. I think the money line's coming in. It's minus 200, and it's almost getting playable for me, to be honest. Just a way younger guy. The guy that's gonna be, believe it or not, even at 30 years old, he's young. He's gonna be improving at the Fighting Nerds. Like, his whole game is gonna improve. So, yeah, give me a Mikhail here by KO too. I think there's a chance he finishes him in round 2. It could be round 1, but Clint, we're nearing 1,000 live viewers, 975. I did say that we might hit 1,000 today, and we're very, very close. So thank you to everybody here. Clint, give us this breakdown on this middleweight fight.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on this one, Narco. I don't have any notes. No notes to add, man. This is a great spot, I feel like, for Mikhail to really kind of revive his career and get a well-known name on his resume. I feel like as long as he doesn't make the same mistake that he made when he hurt Kevin Holland, just don't give your arm up, buddy. Like, that's his whole thing, is he doesn't have any submission defense. If he just doesn't make the mistake of going full retard, trying to get this guy out of there immediately, he's gonna find the button eventually. And you talked about the power hitters that put GM3 out. I think it's the hand speed of Oleksiejczuk that's gonna make the difference. Like, don't get me wrong, he hits hard. He is so fast though. GM3 is not going to have anything for him in boxing range. So, man, I'm going to take the coward's way out because it can happen at any point in time. Like you always say, it's a Corolla, but I'm just going KO. It's like minus 130 now. I just think he knocks him out. I think that's the way to do it on this one, and I'm probably going to bet that.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally fair. I think, you know, the only thing is it's like 70 cents off from his money line. So that's my hesitation. You know, like, what if, a big if it goes the distance and he just wins a decision, like, which I doubt, to be honest. I really do doubt that. So yeah,
I just don't see how he survives if it hits the ground. Right. And if it doesn't hit the ground, I don't see how GM3 survives on the feet. So, like, there's always that chance. But, man, I've got such a hard time seeing this fight go 15.
yeah, I do too. I mean, it's just such a binary fight too. And yeah, Oleksiejczuk hits very, very damn hard, man. I love the move he did. Here he is in the house. Liam Picks Fights. What's up? He says, 2 OGs. Appreciate you.
What's up, buddy?
Listen to Azure and hit the like button, please. 987 live viewers. Let's get to 1,000. Retweet, there, like, Narco. Share. We are going to get there. All right. Fight number 7. It is in the middleweight division, and I am intrigued. It is the 9-0 by Sangers, Sychev versus the 8-3 Eric Nolan. And Sychev coming in here on short notice along with Eric Nolan. Crazy turnaround, 4 days. Clint.
Yeah.
What do you got here?
Man, this is another one, Narco, where I don't have a ton just because there's so many unknowns, right? This Sychev kid, 9-0, undefeated, 24 years old, trains with Hamza. Like, everything checks out. He looks like a beast. He looks like a monster. Dana just ushering him straight in off Dana White's Contender Series. That says mountains about what the promotion thinks of this kid. And then the guy they pulled off the street to fight him, you know, not that Eric Nolan is a bad fighter or anything like that, but he's a natural 170 pounder. So he's coming in, going to be smaller, going to be unprepared, and he's getting his UFC entry via jumping, right? It's like a gang these days, the way they jump these 4 people into the organization for a 3-fight contract. So he's another guy that likes to go out there and bang. He's got a bunch of round 1 wins himself. So because of the short notice nature, I expect this fight to probably be lights out from the jump. And I can't make an argument against the bigger guy who they are trying to highlight on the UFC's big platform here. So I think it's going to be Sychev. And the one way that I can manage to get enough plus money on this to make it a Lambo play is we got to go sub. Just because we've seen that Nolan is willing to stand and bang. He's willing to stand and trade. He's pretty tough. He's only been finished via sub. So if Sychev gets frustrated not being able to knock him out, maybe he takes him down and takes his neck. I think it's probably around 1 or 2 KO, frankly, but for the Lambo show, the price is nowhere near it needs to be. So gotta say sub, and I can't wait to watch this one.
Yeah, man. I was singing praises on this guy for Dana White's Contender Series. When we did the show, me and Brandon, everything I saw about this guy was elite, man. This guy's striking. I'm going to say this, and people are going to probably shit on me. He's a top 3 striker in the middleweight division right now. Right fucking now. That's how good I think he is with his striking. Like, the different type of strikes this guy throws, the timing, the footwork, it's fucking amazing, man. And he's 24 years old. I knew when I watched tape, I'm like, holy moly, this guy's good. Like, the only thing that I didn't like about him was a little bit of his fight IQ. He plays around a little bit too much in the cage, which when your level of opponents move up, you probably shouldn't be doing that, right? But I also think, like, his confidence was so high in these fights. It's like, I can't lose to this guy. I'm just going to toy with him on the feet. Yeah. And he literally, I get that these guys are not very good that he's fought, but he toyed with them on the feet. And honestly, when in Dana White's Contender Series, when they separated from the cage, like anytime they were in striking range, he toyed with Talha too. So You know, looking at Eric Nolan, and you know, he does like to trade on the feet, but I feel like he's more of a grappler first, coming from that Dante Rivera gym, and you know, they're kind of more of a grappling gym. But like you said, you know, he does have power in his hands. He does swing. But what I've noticed, you know, in his Ty Miller fight a couple of years ago, and Ty Miller was the guy that the boxer that was on Dana White's Contender Series. Ty Miller hurt him multiple times in that fight. He almost finished him in round 3. It was close, and he hurt him. And Ty Miller, honestly, I don't think hits very hard, and he's primarily a boxer. You know, the variety is not the same when you look at Sychev. Like, they're all types of strikes, man. And the timing of them is really, really good, and he's very, very fast. So I will give Nolan some props and say he's tough, and I'm hoping he survives around Clint. And I do think that Sychev does play with his food sometimes. If you look at the fight that went the distance, right? He had that guy in death's door like 5 times, literally 5 times. And he just kept beating him up for whatever reason. He didn't like go for the kill. And I'm like, what's this guy doing? And he just kept playing around and beating him up and beating him up. I mean, he beat that guy up very, very bad, you know? So 2-3 KO. I am honestly surprised it's 460. I really am. I thought I'm like looking, I'm like, damn, they're giving us actually a playable line, because Nolan is tough. Now he is moving up to 85, which is a little bit of a concern. You know, I don't know how he's going to be able to take these shots here at 85. He was taking them at 70, but 85 is a little bit different against a big puncher. But hopefully, you know, the lights, the this, the that, he takes a little bit more of his time, and he does take his time. Sychev does take it, even though he's got a lot of round 1 finishes. Those guys are just like really bad fighters. But yeah, 2-3 KO is 460. Round 2, in general, is not bad either. Just if that other guy can survive round 1. But I love this guy, man. I really do. My hot take is this guy is a top 3 striker in the middleweight division right now. Not tomorrow, not in 2 years. He is that good of a striker right now. Clint, what do you got?
Yeah, man. I loved your preview on this one. And I started this one, though. So I said sub on this one.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're in
Sorry.
agreement.
I went so in
Sychev
depth that I
deal.
even forgot that you started. Yeah, I mean, Liam's absolutely right. He's a patient killer. He's literally a surgeon, dude. This guy's an absolute surgeon. And I see why the UFC loves him. And he's a minus 1,300 now favorite. And the comeback on poor Eric Nolan, from what DFS by the number says. Poor Eric Nolan. All right, let's move on. Fight number 8. It is in the flyweight division. It is the 20-13-1 Tim Elliott versus the 21-5 Kai Asakura. And I can kick this one off. Man, I was so torn on this, because when I first did the taping on it, Clint, I came away impressed with Asakura's takedown defense. I thought he did really well versus Pantoja. I didn't think he made Pantoja really work and get really creative to get him down, right? It wasn't easy, and he popped back up multiple times when he got taken down. So I was impressed by how strong he was. I was impressed with the way how athletic he was to get up, you know, and he's a big dude for the division. But eventually Pantoja subbed him, right? And then I went back and I watched a couple of more fights, and I watched a Matoya fight a couple of fights ago. And again, he got taken down multiple times in that fight. He did get up. He did eventually finish, which was good. And then you go to the fight before that against Uguboko, or whatever the guy's name is, older guy a little bit. And he got taken down maybe like 5 or 6 times, 7 times in that fight, proceeded to lose the fight. So the common theme is like, he can get taken down. You know, maybe he gets up, he works back up. He's very dangerous on the feet. He's got amazing timing on his knees. I don't think he has the biggest power in his hands, to be honest. I think It's more flashy and stuff, but he does have nasty kicks, very, very fast. Big power in his step and knees, and the timing is just impeccable, right? The issue for me is like Tim Elliott is like literally super tough, man. Very, very tough to finish, you know. And this guy is like out grappling like high level grapplers. That's my thing. When you go back, this same Ugabuka guy or whatever the hell his name is, right? That out grappled Asakura. Tim Elliott out grappled this guy in tough, right? So it's like I'm not trying to do MMA math, but this guy, Tim Elliott, out grappled Askarov. Tim Elliott out grappled Ulanbekov, right? I believe, was it Ulanbekov or who did he out grapple? Yeah, it was Ulanbekov.
It was Ulanbekov.
So like, look at the guys he's out grappling, you know. And for me to not think that Tim Elliott cannot take Asakura down would be stupid, right? It'd literally be stupid. So can he hold him down is the question. Maybe not. Maybe not. But can he get 4 takedowns, 5 takedowns and make it close? Like Elliott is very awkward on the feet too, man. He's not your typical guy he's lifting that leg, coming up forward like he's Karate Kid and all kinds of weird stuff. And he's awkward to fight. So I truly think that Elliott is kind of live here. I haven't played him. The thing that concerns me is the time off, right? All this nonsense he's talking on Twitter. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's never acted like this before, but he's being really awkward on Twitter. And I do think a split decision at 16-1 on BetOnline.
Ooh,
16-1?
It's spicy.
Yeah. I mean, his decision is 525. I probably wouldn't play that because his money line is almost right there. It's like, whatever. Maybe I would, but 16-1 split decision. I think that's kind of how he wins. You know, he gets maybe hit on the feet. He gets takedowns, makes it competitive, and he wins a split. Maybe not, but 16-1 is worth a shot, in my opinion. What do you got here, Clint?
I like it, Narco. I like it a lot. I feel like Tim Elliott is always the redheaded stepchild. Like, he's always forgotten and disrespected. Like, everyone always just expects this guy to get whopped. And he comes out and fights his ass off every single time. You look at the guys that he's really losing to, and it's like the sub loss to Davison Figueiredo and the sub loss to Brandon Royval. And it's like, well, those guys are high-level squeezes who can scramble with him and counter what he does on the mat. The guys that he can't get threatened with those chokes by, he's just rinsing. Takedown, takedown, takedown. He's not controlling anybody. It's just rapid, constant spamming of takedowns. And yeah, this kid is huge. Kai Asakura is really freaking big. Frankly, I actually think Elliott's got an argument to be made as far as the weight stuff. I made a video about the Hamzat thing. They called him 2 pounds light for God knows what fucking reason. Like, say, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to curse on your stream here. They are like goofing with people on the scales every single week these days. So like, I do think there's some potential peripheral treatment going around to some of these guys. And if Kai was close, they probably just said, close enough, call it, give it to him. Like, whatever. It's probably not going to affect the fight. But this guy is massive, coming from, you know, a different market, 31 years old. And he's just a banger, dude. Like, he just wants to go out there and throw big flying knees and spinning stuff. But he's not invincible, right? Like, the guys he's fighting are either not that great, they're a little older, they're a little smaller, whatever. The good people that he does fight, though, he's lost to. Horiguchi, Cop, like, so these guys that he's really getting challenged by are the ones that are causing him troubles. I don't know that he can keep up with the wrestling of a guy like Tim Elliott. I think it's super live that Elliott just comes out here and does what he does. And if Kai hasn't learned some tier 2 takedown defense, because his tier 1 is fine, right? But it's tier 2 that matters against a guy like Elliott. I think round 1 will be close. I think Elliott eats a couple of big shots. He looks like he's in really good shape. If you saw the weigh-ins and the face-off, Tim looks like he's bulked up, man. He looks like he's in solid shape coming into this fight. I don't know that he's going to outright win the fight. That's my thing, is that I still think Kai is probably going to win based off damage or something like that. And with Tim getting older, there's always the chance he gets caught and put away and knocked out. So my Lambo on this one is just a little bit weird. But I think Tim Elliott 3+ takedowns at plus 330 is the way to look at this, because he hits crazy takedowns in his fights, especially if they go deep, especially if he's winning or it's close. Let's see here. He hit 6 against Victor Altamirano, different level fight, sure, but he hit 3 against Tagir Ulanbekov, like we were talking about. Back in the day, he hit 4 against Espinoza. He hit 4 against Royval. He hit 3 against Askarov. Like, I think Tim can get 3 takedowns. And at plus 330, I think that's probably an okay bet to make, because he could still lose the fight after hitting your 3 takedowns and cashing the ticket.
Plus, I want to tell people one more thing. There's only one guy here that's been knocked out 3 times, and it's not Tim Elliott. So let's not act like this guy is like some invincible dude. Like, he's been finished in 4 of his 5 fights. And, you know, the other thing is, like, I get that he's dangerous with his knees and stuff, but like, when you look at some of these guys he's gone to decision against, like this Takazawa guy not very long ago, that's 14-13. I got a thing to tell you guys. That guy's been knocked out 7 times. And he survived somehow against Asakura in that fight. Like, he didn't get knocked out. So now you're facing a really, really durable guy that's very awkward. I think, you know, these knee knockouts and stuff, like, those are not things that you can pull off very often in the UFC, man. It's not easy. You're facing much better opponents, guys that are really, really good and know how to survive. And a veteran like Tim Elliott, it's not going to be easy. Maybe you can shut him down with one knee. I'm not saying it's not possible, but the outcome is not a high likely outcome. So, yeah, man, I think this fight, honestly, I was looking at GTD quite a bit here. I kept staring at it, and it's pick'em, and I'm like, at the end of the day, these are still flyweights, and at the end of the day, you're talking about a guy that usually loses by submission when he gets finished in Tim Elliott, right? So I don't know, man. I really don't. I think just as much as Asakura can knock him out, Elliott could possibly hurt him, bro. Like, this guy's chin is not the best, and he's super, super hittable, man. He's very, very hittable on the feet. So, all right. Let's move on. 1,133 live viewers and climbing, Clint. Let's effing go. All right. Fight number 10 or 9. Sorry. It is in the middleweight division. It is the 18-8 Jared Cannonier versus the 23-3 Michael Venom Page. And Clint, great fight. What do you like here?
Continuing the theme of awkward fights, man. We got a 41-year-old 185er fighting a veteran 170-pounder who's just hanging around at 185 at 38 years old for some reason. Weird fight for these two to be running into each other. MVP, even though he's the natural 170 guy, has a height and reach advantage here, big time over Jared Cannonier, which is interesting to see. Man, I've had a hard time with MVP since being over here in the UFC. I bet Ian Gary against him, and that was hairy. Like, he was getting bopped up on the feet. He had to shift gears and go to the grappling. Still am pissed at him for not cashing my 10-1 sub prop that night because he had it. But that seems to be the way to beat Michael Venom Page in the UFC, is to bully him physically, take him down, and out grapple him. I thought he was supposed to be cannon fodder for Shara, right? Like, they moved this 170 guy with a name up to 185 to take our, star boy over here in Abu Dhabi. I thought the idea was to get Shara a win, but Shara sucks even worse than I thought. So MVP was able to get that win pretty easily. So he's still very good, man. He's still very fast. He obviously knows what he's doing striking, but he's a little low volume. And that's the thing that Jared Cannonier, he's made his career off of volume. This guy just comes forward and continues spamming and throwing, and you just can't get him off of you. He goes 25 minutes without a problem. He's in insane shape for 41 years old. It's absolutely bonkers how good this guy is. And coming off of a round 4 TKO over a guy like Hobocop, he still got it. Like, I worry about the declining durability, man. That's the big thing. I feel like the floor could give out at any moment on Jared Cannonier. So a good timed knee or a big overhand from MVP that he doesn't quite see coming, just the wrong angle. Like, I feel like MVP by knockout is probably the most likely way that this thing happens. But if Jared knows what he's doing, why can't he wrestle here? Like, why can't Jared Cannonier come out at 15 pounds heavier than someone like Ian Gary and try and take this guy down and lay on him? He trains at the lab. We know he knows how to wrestle. I think this is totally possible. Man. Oh, I'm going to say, oh God. See, I don't even like this one. Like, I'm saying it to you right now on a stream before people are going to go put their bets in, and I don't even like it. I'm not betting this fight. Let me be clear. I'll say Jared Cannonier wins a decision at plus 330 for my Lambo play on this one, but I have zero confidence in this fight, you guys. I've been so wrong about MVP outside the Ian Gary fight that I got, and even winning that bet that night, I was still wrong about how the fight played out. So I am not touching an MVP fight today.
Yeah. Page moving up to 85, right? I mean, he fought Chara there at 85. Looked pretty damn good, right? But Chara's not going to grapple, right? He's a striker. When I looked at that fight, I think something that came off for me that was important is Chara's a great kicker. Kicks the leg, kicks the body, does all those good things, And one thing that is a good weapon for Cannonier was, his leg kicks. His leg kicks are good. And Chara honestly couldn't really get him off because of Page's style, right? His movement, switching stances, all kinds of blitzing. So he had him kind of like rattled as far as distance striking. And a guy like Chara, at distances, because he kicks so much, is very, very hard to outland, But MVP is so awkward. He's so long and he's so fast in and out, even at this age. He had him in, just confused. Man, and a high-level striker like Chara, because he is a very high-level striker when it comes to, distance striking. The guy just didn't know how to land on Venom Page. And, when I look at Jared Cannonier, it's, he's flat-footed. He's very plotty. It's a bigger cage. MVP's footwork is elite. And how does he corner him? How does he get him to stand still at the fence in order for him to get a takedown? And I think that's the biggest issue for Jared Cannonier here, right? And then when you talk about durability, I mean, Gregory Rodriguez fight hurt very bad, early on. Caio Bahayo, he took an absolute beating in round 5, and throughout that fight, we've seen that famous big snot of blood coming out of his face after he got punched by Caio there at the end. I can't believe the ref didn't stop that. The Imavov fight honestly was pretty close. I mean, it was a close fight before he got knocked out there. Vettori hurt him in the Vettori fight, which is not great. And you just, it's been a theme with him getting hurt a lot. Derek Brunson hurt him very bad early on in that fight, almost finished him. So the theme has been, him getting hurt and surviving and winning some of the times, but him getting hurt and getting knocked out some of the times, right? So at 41 years old, coming off all these, hurt and getting knocked out, and now you're facing, and this is the thing, I kind of compare Page kind of like a Bahayo in the sense that Bahayo's very fleet of foot. He's jumping in and out. He's southpaw. He's jumping in, landing strikes. Page can do the same thing in both stances. And then you look at Whitaker, right? Whitaker is a little bit of a similar style, right? Bouncy, in and out. And in both those fights, Cannonier was kind of lost on the feet, man. He got dropped against Whitaker. He got dropped 2 times against Caio, and he should have been finished. And now he's facing a longer, and I want to say a little bit more of an explosive striker in Venom Page, right? So when Venom Page explodes into that right hand, I don't think Cannonier is going to see it, man. I really don't. And at 41, getting older, all this damage, I think he gets finished here, man. I like Michael Venom Page. ITD. By the way, I'm going to warn people. ITD is plus 350 if you have Hard Rock. I mean, KO is like 350 everywhere. So do not play KO if you have Hard Rock or Rivers. It's around 350. or even if he save like 20 cents, like just play ITD, guys. Like, who knows? Michael Venom Page is long. He could club and sub him, or something weird happens, and now you lose your KO bet because you decided to save 20 cents, on the KO line. So, yeah, I like Michael Venom Page here. I think there's a huge speed advantage. He's much longer. And Cannonier is honestly on his probably last couple of legs. He's in great shape, sure, but you can't keep getting hurt, getting knocked out at this point of your career, right? The fall is coming, and it's going to come really, really hard. And I love Cannonier as a person. I've met him, super, super nice guy. But I think this is a very, very bad matchup for Jared Cannonier. And again, your wrestling is definitely if he's smart and his camp is smart, he needs to just straightforward right into the grappling. Just try to corner this guy and try to grapple him, because that's the path. If you're going to just stand, I don't think that's the path here, because honestly, no one outstrikes Page. Nobody. There's not a single soul that's outstruck Page at distance. I mean, maybe Diego Lima when he just destroyed his leg. I think that one fight, but no one really outstrikes him, man. They just don't. All right. Fight number 10. It is in the welterweight division. It is a 16-6 Jeff Neal versus the 21-7 Carlos Prates. And I will kick this one off. Man, I think this is a close fight, Clint. I really think it's a close fight, man. Jeff Neal is not a joke on the feet. I mean, you can say what you want about this guy. One, he's very damn durable. Two, he's probably the best boxer in the entire UFC. Like, head movement, side to side, quickness, the switching of stances, throwing punches. Like, he's a very, very good boxer. And I do think Prates is a good striker himself. I think he has those kicks, the teeps, the knees up the middle, when they're close. But, Jeff Neal is not easy to strike with, man. Ask Ian Gary. Ask Shavkat Rakhmonov. Was that easy? That was not easy for him, and it was a pretty good fight on the feet there against Rakhmonov, who's really good. Neal landed some very good strikes in that fight. And Ian Gary fight was pretty damn close. So we just saw, Ian Gary, obviously he used grappling against Prates, but he also struck with him, and he did pretty damn well in the striking. So I think this fight's a lot closer than people are thinking. The line's minus 200 Prates. 190, sorry, as we speak. It just went down 10 cents. So I think Jeff Neal's really good still. I don't think, he's out of his prime yet. He's still 34. Obviously, it's nearing, right? It's coming there, a couple more years, potentially he could slow down. But this guy is still really good, has a ton of power, very good boxer. Prates can get hit. I like split decision here, man. I think it's a striking affair, Clint. I think both guys, by the way, I do want to say, both guys are very durable, very, very tough guys on the feet to knock out. And the split is, like I said, it's 500. Fight ends in split. But the Neal split is, I think you can find like 12-1. I don't mind that at all. I think this is a close striking matchup on the feet. I don't think any one of these guys is going to really pull away. And I don't really see a knockout outside of something, like a flying knee or some kind of step in knee from Prates, which is possible. I don't see a KO here. So yeah, I like the split here. I think this is a close fight, and I think it stays standing for the most part. I know some people have been talking about Prates potentially grappling. I don't see it, man. Neal has good takedown defense. Like, he's got very good takedown defense, and Prates, I don't think, has good wrestling at all. So yeah, it's a 15-minute stand-up fight, and I think it's going to be close.
I couldn't agree more. I completely agree with you. Carlos Prates, I'm glad you went first, because people would be yelling at me in the chat if I was talking about going against Carlos Prates again, man. He's been just Alex Pereira 2.0 for me, where I'm like, I don't believe it, right? Like, I feel like he's overperforming in his last couple of fights. He's losing minutes to everybody that he fights. And then it's just that nuclear option that he comes through with a big power shot and it completely swings the fight. But I don't think that's going to keep up as he continues to climb the ladder. I just think the higher he gets, the closer he gets to a title fight, the more he gets contender fights going. These guys are going to be the ones who are able to kind of handle that power. They're going to see those big shots coming. They're going to recognize the setups. They're not going to fall into the traps. Like, people are going to get pissed at me for this, Narco, but like Carlos Prates reminds me of like a power striking version of Anthony Smith. Like, he had so much experience. By the time he got to the end of his career, he was like, what, 38-21 or some shit? Like, he was a great fighter. He had a lot of skills, but at the end of the day, the record ended up being pretty bad, and he fell short always when it got, balls to the buzzsaw. I think that's Carlos Prates. He's 21-7. Like, you can't run away from the fact that at 31 years old, he's got 7 losses. He went on this incredible run, sure, but he started off his career really rough, and he's got smoker cardio. That's going to be a problem when you get to the higher level against these athletes who are not smoking. Like you said, I don't think the wrestling's very good, so maybe he's got a jiu-jitsu edge, but can he grapple Neil Magny for 10-15 minutes? I don't think he can keep that up. I think he'll gas himself out if he tries that shit. So yeah, man, I think this is going to be a close fight. I was going to say Neil Magny by decision was the prop that I was going to go with for this one, because I think he's live. I think it'll be close, and I think he'll be winning minutes. As long as he avoids that big power shot at like round 2, round 3 mark, I think he can win this fight.
Yeah, I honestly think it's a close fight. Like, I get the hype, and I like Prates. I think he's actually a good fighter. I don't think it's going to be a blowout here, man. I really don't see it, but maybe I'm wrong. I think Jeff Neal has good boxing, has good power. And, people that Prates has faced, I mean, who of these guys has really big power? Ian Gary, Neil Magny, maybe Lee, the Leech, but the Leech he's kind of done, bro. Like, none of these guys actually have the power that Neil has and the boxing skills that Neil has. So
chat, my bad. Yeah, I'm talking about Jeff Neal. Wrong name. My bad, guys.
What happened? What happened?
Apparently I said Neil Magny instead of Jeff Neal. So I mixed up my Neils.
Yeah, he mixed up his Neils. It's okay. There's a lot of Neils in the UFC. So
my bad.
All right. Let's move on. 1,292.95 live viewers. Thank you very much. I think we broke a record, Clint. Broke a record on a Saturday show, Clint. This is a Saturday show. Now you're making me think about doing Saturday Lambo show instead of Friday, getting these kind of numbers.
It's also 319, to be fair.
Correct. Shout out to Justin Cash, $2 dono. Neil also been having health issues. Yeah, he had those health issues for sure. He had actually a really, really bad health issue a while back, but he did have elbow surgery. That is a little bit of a concern. He had elbow surgery, I want to say about 4 or 5 months ago. So it's a little bit of a concern. He did have elbow surgery, which caused him to pull out of the fight. These guys are being rebooked, by the way. They were supposed to fight, I believe in April, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, April 12th. So this is a rebooking. I do want to say one more thing. It's funny because I went back and looked. I'm like, oh, that's weird. So Jeff Neal has been rebooked 3 times now against the same opponents. The first one was Shafkat. There was a pull out. He rebooked. He lost. The other one was Ian Gary. There was a pull out. He rebooked. He lost. And this is another rebooking against Carlos Prates. So that's just some food for thought. But he's 0-2 in the rebookings. Yes, put on because this is the 3rd rebooking and he's 0-2. So things happen in 3s, they say. That's not good. That's not a good sign.
Let me clear this up, Narco. I did not say that Jeff Neal looks like Neil Magny. I said the wrong name. Y'all stop it. You guys stop it.
Now they're messing with you. I see, my guy. Neil Magny. Now they're calling you. Look at this. Now they're saying
don't put words in my mouth.
What's going on here?
Dude, I'm a near 40 balding white man. I'm not beating the allegations. Don't put me through this.
All right. co-main event of the night. It is in the featherweight division. 16-0-1 LaRon Murphy versus the 13-4 newcomer Aaron Pico Clint. I think this is the Twitter MMA community fight of the week.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be. I've seen some serious takes on both sides and just pure confidence, right? Like one side is going to look real stupid at the end of this thing, unless it goes to a classic, LaRon Murphy greasy decision, then everybody's kind of a winner. But man, I love this fight. I can't wait to see how this one plays out. Narco, I've got a policy. And when it comes to fighting, it's that I don't believe anybody is special, like until you prove it to me, right? Like I'm not going to believe you're special until you show me. So I actually have been trying to fade Aaron Pico his entire career. I feel like he's been overhyped like forever. And if you recall, he lost a fight via TKO because his shoulder popped out of joint. I was holding a KO prop against him that night. It was 10-1. I cashed my ticket because someone literally chucked a banana peel into the cage and he slipped on it and he lost because they wouldn't let him fight with a dislocated shoulder. And I said, oh my God, I just hit a bet that no one on earth should ever cash. I'm never doing that ever again. Like I learned my lesson. The kid is way better than I gave him credit for. And I need to stop trying this bullshit. So I've sworn off. Well, now that he gets over to the UFC, and he's still just, 28 years old? Like, can you believe with the experience he's had and all the run he's gone on in Bellator, the experience he's gotten? Like, he's still just kind of coming into his prime right now. And that is super exciting. Really impressive. He's got God-given power and maybe a little extra power from his doctor. But he's got incredible cardio, great wrestling skills. Like this kid is the goods. I cannot wait to see what he does here. Now, LaRon Murphy, constantly disrespected, 16-0. He's beaten every single person the UFC's put in front of him. Sometimes it gets a little greasy. Sometimes it gets a little hairy, but he just finds ways to win, man. Barbosa, Ige, Emmett, like these are big names. He's deserving of a number one contender shot at this point. He is 34 years old, which little older, little longer in the tooth. It's a little old to be the contender, but he's making it work for him. I do worry about like the Edson Barbosa fight. I know it was over 5 rounds, but the way he got lumped up in that fight, he was getting tagged, man. And Dan Ige was able to hit takedowns on him. So I think there's a path to victory here for Aaron Pico. I know books open this thing a lot closer to pick him. I lean towards the Pico side, but I'm not super comfortable laying anything above -150 because I really just feel like the fight could be super, super close. And to this point, even with all these big hitters, LaRon Murphy's never gone down, so I don't know that it's going to be a big win either way. Pico by knockout would be like the hot take, right? Like he just gets him a little tired, maybe gets him thinking about wrestling, feints the takedown, comes up top with a big hook or something. That's my Lambo is going to be Pico by KO. But I'll be honest with you guys, I don't truly believe it. I think this could be another split decision type of fight, Narco. Anti-violence may pay very well at UFC 319.
Yeah, man. I'm buying the hype. I'll be honest. I'm buying a hype. There is someone in chat, Manny, that says Pico looks like he is super nervous, but says he'll handle it. I kind of agree. I kind of think like even at face-offs, I didn't like too much of what I saw. I don't want to read into it too much, honestly, but I do have a huge bet on Pico, which is scaring me now.
Do you want the tinfoil cap?
No. I already the bet is locked in at a pretty big bet on Pico. And there's something that I always, and I think it's worked out really well for me when I've looked at stuff like this. And when you look at the LaRon Murphy's biggest weakness, what do you come away with, right? And it's his takedown defense. Like there's no chance that that's not his biggest weakness. That's 100% the biggest flaw in his game is his takedown defense. It's not very good. His scrambling ability, getting up, it's not bad. I'll give him that. But at 52% takedown defense at flyweight, at featherweight, it's just not very good, man. That's a low number, 52%. And when you look at guys like, is Josh Emmett a good wrestler? Yeah, he's pretty good. But at this point of his career, Josh Emmett, believe it or not, has not landed more than fucking one takedown since 2016, guys. He has not landed more than one takedown since 2016. And guess what? He had 4 takedowns against LaRon Murphy, so it's a weakness, man. And when you look at Ige getting on top and the young kid Gabriel Santos, who's a good fighter, taking him down 5 times on short notice. We talk about levels to the game, guys, and there's levels to wrestling. And Aaron Pico, you can combine all those guys that have taken him down are not even close to Aaron Pico's wrestling. His wrestling, his MMA wrestling is absolutely elite. Elite. Whenever he's tried to get people down in the Bellator scene, they've gone down. He takes them all down. And he's that strong. He's that good. And the other thing I like about him, Clint, is that he has hands. He is not a one-dimensional fighter. And people will keep referring to how, Patchy Mix came in and he froze. But Patchy Mix is a one-dimensional submission grappler, man. He's not a very good striker. He's not a very good wrestler, right? And he doesn't have a lot of power in his hands. And defensively, he's very flawed, right? So there's a lot of flaws coming from Patchy Mix, right? He can't wrestle really well, right? In order to get your game to what you're doing that's elite, which is the BJJ, you need to get the fight to the ground. And against higher level opponents, it's going to get that much harder. The difference with Pico is he actually has pretty good striking. He has a ton of power on the feet. So you have to respect him on the feet, man. You cannot not respect those big shots that come, that he hooks to the body. That left hook to the body is nasty. And when you respect those, the takedowns come that much easier for him. So Pico's biggest strength is wrestling. LaRon Murphy's biggest weakness is defensive wrestling. What does that mean? He's going down, guys. He's going to get taken down. Maybe he can't hold him down. That's the one thing I hate about Pico's game is for whatever reason, he allows guys up. And I don't think it's the control, to be honest. It kind of feels like he lets them up. They'll like push him away and he's like, all right, come on, get up. So that's one thing I don't like. But even on the feet here, I think LaRon Murphy's the cleaner striker. I think LaRon Murphy is, more technical. And I like his stepping knees. I like his elbows. The timing is really good. But I'll tell you one thing. In the clinch, Pico is nasty with his elbows, man. Very nasty with those elbows. And even on the outside, he mixes in those leg kicks really, really well as well. I know Murphy has very good kicks to the body, to the legs, but so does Pico. His leg kicks are not a joke, man. He's throwing everything into that leg kick. So, I'm a little bit nervous. I will say I'm a little bit nervous with the face-offs, and maybe the bright lights are getting to Pico. It could be. I am a tad bit nervous there, but we also need to talk about the short notice aspect for Murphy. This is 2 weeks notice, having to travel from England. It's not that easy. How much of a camp did he get? 1 week? Because he had to fly here. Like he's not flying here, yesterday. So it's a 1 week camp basically for LaRon Murphy, facing a very, very tough opponent. And I will say one more thing. I think this chin thing is way overblown for Pico. I think his chin is actually really good. The Corrales one was very weird. Like he just caught him in an exchange there. The Borix was just a flying knee. I mean, he was dominating that fight before he ate the flying knee. So, I mean, anybody can get knocked out like that, but his chin is legit, man. His chin is legit. And hot take for everybody. Hot take. I think he has a better chin than Murphy does. That's my hot take this week. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's going to be really, really interesting here. I love that fight, man. I love that fight. I think it's Pico, man. I think this guy is the goods. We'll see. All right. 1,362 live viewers. Appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate the donos, Nandalal. Appreciate everybody else that donated, that's in here, that's chatting, that's keeping this up. And also, I appreciate my guest this week, Clint, for coming in and doing the damn thing. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you very much. Also, link down below for my Discord. If you're not in there, $25 a month. We crushed it yesterday. Liz Carmouche came through 345 KO, Clint, at plus 750, baby. Plus 750. Give me Liz Carmouche. That was unbelievable.
I just had the money line. I was happy with that.
yeah. She looked good. I mean, Liz Carmouche is, man, 41 years old and still chugging along. She's finishing these girls at such a high clip at this age. It's crazy.
The gift that keeps on giving, man. It's just always Liz Carmouche.
Yeah, she just keeps plugging along. Like, she only loses to like one or two girls. That's it. Everybody else, they're done. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. Main event of the night, and it is in the middleweight division. It is the 23-2 champion Dricus du Plessis, also known as DDP, against the 14-0 Khamzat Chimaev. This one's supposed to be mine, but I will give it to my guest. He needs to go first. Go ahead, Clint. What do you have?
I appreciate that.
Fight of the year. I think right now this is the fight of the year on paper. On paper.
I agree with you. I love this fight, man. I absolutely love it. So first and foremost, I want to let the chat know that I've been on Dricus du Plessis since he made it to the UFC. So I'm not a guy who's been, over or under hyping him or talking about how weird and awkward he is and he doesn't deserve these wins, etc. I've been cashing on Dricus since he got here. The guy's just a freak. He's a freak of nature. And it's so cool that we get a legitimate freak show. They're going to lock two of them in the cage together here this weekend. He's incredible. I mean, he talks about how he tapped out the entire Gracie Barra gym with his jiu-jitsu. Like, he just rips people's limbs off. He's got his submissions and he can make good use of them. You can't let this guy get around your neck or your arms or anything. One of my favorite bets of all time was betting against Robert Whittaker. We got like plus 200, plus 215, I think, that night. And it was such a sweet spot to be able to take advantage of Rob getting just bulldozed by some of these freaks of nature. And
great.
I know the Sean Strickland fight got a little hairy, but I think Dricus really showed the level of champion caliber he truly is, because in the rematch, Sean was never in that fight. People want to say that Sean had like a letdown, right? Like, people want to talk about how bad Sean looked. Like, Dricus looked better. Like, Dricus did that to him. I feel like the credit is being given or taken away from Dricus because they're saying Sean had a letdown spot, as opposed to just being like, no, like the guy adjusted game plan differently and came out and whooped his ass in the second fight. So I love Dricus. He's awkward. He's different. He's weird. It's hard to plan for, but he's a physical freak. He's incredibly strong, and he looks like he's gassed about 7 minutes into every single fight, but he catches second and third wins. Like, he just keeps pushing no matter how tired he gets. And I guess he had the same nose surgery as like Amanda Nunes or something, that he's like breathing right now. And you could see the difference the cardio made in his last couple fights, like that 25-minute fight with Sean Strickland. So the guy can go hard and push a pace, and it's not a problem. He can wrestle if he needs to. He's not technical. He's not very good at it, but he's just so physical. People have a hard time dealing with it. And then his power is stupid. He's just got ridiculous, ungodly power that turns fights on its head. Like, Israel Adesanya looked amazing in the fight against Dricus until Dricus landed a couple big shots. And then it was like, oh shit, like, this is not what I want to be doing anymore. So the guy can just change the course of fights. And I know the thing with Khamzat, 14-0, undefeated, in his prime, just beasting his way through people. Same thing, with Robert Whittaker. He took him down, subbed him out super easily. I have questions still about Khamzat, man. I still have unanswered questions, because it does seem like he's been brought along by the UFC. They like him. They want him to win. He's been given good fights and good spots to fight and things like that. I expect him to come out here and have a wrestling advantage, especially early. We are all saying the same thing, that it's Khamzat early or it's Dricus late. Like, that's the theme going through this entire thing. But man, I think this fight is competitive, and frankly, I like the over. I think we're going to get a longer fight here, where these two guys are going to match each other in there physically And I don't think Khamzat's going to fade off as hard as people are expecting him to. I don't think that Dricus is going to give up his neck as easily as Khamzat truthers believe he's going to. I think this is a blood and guts war, man. I think we're going to have a real battle for the title in this fight, and it's going to come down to who wants it more. And frankly, I think the judges might get involved, Narco. I think this fight is going to go the full 25 minutes and just completely blow people away at the fact that these finishers are going to have a back and forth war. So I think it's going to be a close, competitive fight, and it's going to go the distance, which is plus 235. So it's not quite a Lambo just to get the fight to go up and over. I actually like the 2.5, just the total itself for this fight to get up and over 2.5. And then Dricus by decision is plus 600. That's my hot take for this one, is that Dricus can actually win this fight over the course of 25 minutes as opposed to needing like a giant comeback finish. Live betting Dricus has always been the move. You let him give up that first round and then jump on him when the number's even better. Against a guy like Khamzat, I do think Khamzat will probably come out and take him down early, so I think that still plays here. I'm trying to decide when and how I want to bet Dricus du Plessis in this fight, man. I'm going to ride or die with my guy this week. So it's whether I want to jump in early, money line, go for it, or if I want to try and wait until after round 1 to pounce and see if he can get behind and get a little bit better number going into round 2 or something like that. But the last thing I want to make mention of, Narco, less of a technical thing, and I know you don't like to read too much into the weigh-ins and face-offs and stuff like that, but we're talking body language. When they got up there after for the ceremonials, Khamzat tried to like shove Dricus. Bro didn't move. Like, he didn't budge. Khamzat pushed himself backwards and then acted like a tough guy, and his corner all ran in to try to like grab him. Dricus was like, bro, do it. Like, no one had to hold Dricus back. He just stood there and like death stared Khamzat. To me, that's some little dog syndrome stuff. That's Khamzat trying to get a mental edge and failing. You know what I mean? Like, Dricus peered into this man's soul and let him know he wasn't going anywhere. And that's the kind of thing that I'm like, hey, that's not technical whatsoever, but that's the type of intangible that I'm like, if I'm teetering, I'm like, okay, that's points for this guy. I was already leaning towards the Dricus side, but him having that kind of reaction to the strength, to the power, to the physicality of Khamzat, Dricus ain't worried. That's enough. I'm the team Dricus. Put me on that side, baby. DDP and still.
Yeah, I mean, my God. I'm looking at the money line right now. Bet online. Minus 265. And the champion is plus 225 now. People are absolutely nuking Chimaev. And you know what's crazy, even more crazy, is that he was a minus 230 favorite. Chimaev was against Whitaker last fight. So he's a bigger favorite versus the champion, which doesn't make sense, honestly. Like, I get that he broke Whitaker's jaw or whatever. Like, why is he a bigger favorite against DDP in a 5-round fight? Like, that shouldn't be. That's definitely recency bias. Mm-hmm. You know, it's an interesting fight because anybody that's asked me, I've had like a million messages this week from friends, family, you know, who should I bet on this fight? Who should I bet on this fight? I said, listen,
me too.
If you want to bet this fight, don't touch DDP pre-flop. If you're going to be able to bet live, do not bet DDP right now, because I am almost certain that you will get a better price than 225 after round 1 or during round 1. At the very least, you get to fade the early finish as well when Khamzat is the most fucking dangerous, right? Look at the Usman fight. I mean, he almost finished Usman multiple times. It was a 10-8 round 1. He brutalized Usman, right, in round 1. And I want to let people know, is Usman durable? Sure. Is Usman a good wrestler? Sure. But Usman took that fight on very short notice, up a weight class, guys. He's not an 85er. He's severely undersized at 85 as Usman, right? And he survived that round 1. And then, do people know that two judges gave Usman rounds 2 and 3? The problem is it was the opposite judges on a couple of them, which ended up giving the Khamzat the majority decision win. If it was the other judges, it would have been a draw, right? And what did we see from Chimaev in round 3, in round 2, like halfway through? The takedowns were just not coming anymore. They weren't easy. They were getting stuffed, and he looked gassed, right? Like, when you talk about guys fighting through being tired, Khamzat did fight through being tired. I will give him that. Even in the Burns fight, right? He was exhausted, and he fought through it, and there was a war on the feet, right? Fine. But this guy is a different level type of guy. He hits much harder than those guys. He's stronger than those guys. And he has 5-round experience. Huge, huge, huge edge when it comes to this fight. And honestly, when I look at the 2 fights that have extended for Khamzat, right? And people are saying, oh, well, he's probably going to look better. But why? We don't have evidence of that, guys. He's looked awful in round 3s against these 2 other guys. And one of them is a 170-pounder that took the fight on short notice, and it got absolutely destroyed in round 1, and he's still the one that won round 3 pretty convincingly to me. Like, and now he's fighting Duplessis, who has 5-round cardio that hits way harder, that's stronger probably at 85 than Usman is. I don't understand. Like, 3-4-5 for me on DDP KO. I think it's going to be KO. I don't think he's going to sub him if he finishes him.
I agree.
It's 11-1. It's 11-1, 3-4-5. I mean, it's an auto click for me. I'm not going to sit here and all of a sudden in my head say that, you know what? Chimaev all of a sudden is going to have 5-round cardio. Great 5-round cardio. I mean, tape tells me he's not going to have it. And I honestly, I'll tell you what, he's a front runner, man. He's going to come out. He only knows how to fight one way, and he comes out hot and heavy early. And he's going to do that here. And I think he's going to take down DDP. And maybe DDP is in some, uncomfortable moments early on. And listen, guaranteed, I do think Khamzat can finish him early. 100%. I'm not saying that's not on the table. But when you're live betting here, you get to fade that spot. You get to fade and see what the Khamzat looks like in round 2, in round 3, right? So for me, that's the better angle of betting this fight. But KO 3-4-5, DDP at 11-1. It's like a auto click, Clint. It's an auto click button because, maybe Chimaev can get also subbed, like shooting some sloppy, but I feel like he's such a high level wrestler, grappler, that he will get out of those positions. Even though he's tired, he'll like spin out or do something. His wrestling is so good that it's going to be very, very hard, I think, for DDP to submit him. But I do think he can definitely hurt him and maybe ground and pound even, like off a sloppy takedown and just kind of roll to his back when he's tired. And DDP has nasty, nasty ground and pound. He is not playing when he's throwing those guys. Ask Whitaker what that ground and pound looked like when he was landing on him. So, yeah, 3-4-5, 11-1, man. Like, I have to do it. And I again, if you're betting this fight, I think Chimaev is the side pre-flop. Even at these prices, I think that price balloons in round 1, and you get. I don't really see many scenarios DDP winning round 1. I really don't. I really, really don't. I think Khamzat to win round 1 should be minus 900. No joke.
Yeah.
I'm not
Best
kidding.
round 1 fighter in the UFC.
9 out of 10 times he wins round 1. How does DDP win round 1 here? He's not stuffing a takedown. He is not stuffing a takedown here. Nobody can stuff Chimaev when he's fresh. They just can't. He's just too good of a wrestler, grappler. So yeah. I think you can, 240 now on FanDuel. You can play that and easily exit live on DDP if he survives.
The only thing, Narco,
Yeah,
I would be remiss. It would be an error for me coming on your show and sharing and failing to share the information that I have with these people. My guest on my Monday show was Coach Santino from Fight Ready. Okay. And he said that for this camp, Khamzat specifically linked up with TJ Dillashaw's strength and conditioning coach. So if there was ever to be a situation where somebody did suddenly have better cardio than we were expecting to, it would be TJ Dillashaw's camp. I'm just throwing that out there. I still believe DDP can overcome it. I still think Hamzat's gonna Hamzat, and I think the cardio will probably be a little bit better, which is why I kind of like the over. But I'm not expecting him to become Merab overnight. So I'm just saying, like, I would expect a small improvement at least, but that's the skinny that I was told on my show.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to MMA Bets and Breakdowns, Brandon and the coach Santino. I was on their show. The good guys. I was there in the studio, so yeah, shout out to them. That's good information. I mean, yeah, listen, every little bit helps, but I can't. I don't think anything can help this guy because it's not so much. It might not even be, honestly, that this guy has bad cardio. Clint, I don't think he knows how to maintain a pace. You know, the pace that he goes is 100. It's literally step on the gas all the way down and don't come off of it. Don't break. Don't do nothing. Just keep going until you finish your guys early, right? And that style is, you know, it's hard to maintain, you know, 5 rounds. So, all right. Lambo parlay time. I don't know if you put one together. I didn't ask you to. I forgot, and that's my fault.
I know the show format enough, Narco. Come on.
You have one ready. I love it. All right. He has one, guys. He's not. See, Clint is ready. When you talk about a guy that's ready and he has $100 bills on his head right now, he is ready for this UFC 319 card. I have a couple of them, actually. The first one is Carini Silva by decision, Jakar Close by decision, and Jessica Andrade by decision, 27-1. I think it's very, very live there. The other one is, this one is a little bit different. It's going to be a KO prop. It's Venom Page by KO. It's Alibi by KO and Oleksiejczuk by KO, 23-1. So those are the two I like. If you want to get really crazy, you can go Hooper sub 2-3 and GM3 sub 2-3 at huge numbers. I didn't run it, but those are huge numbers. I think both those guys could potentially get subs late if the fights go on. All right, Clint, what do you got for the people? They're waiting.
So
you're ready?
I'm all set. I'm all set. We're gonna have a couple of overlapping legs with your two parlays there. I did Jessica Andrade by decision as well. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk by KO as well. And then I just threw Dricus Duplessis money line on the back of it, and it's 21-1. And then I did have another spicy one that if you wanted to take like a very, very small sprinkle,
people love spicy. People love spicy. I'll tell you. The bigger it gets, the more interested they are. You know, like my 23-1s don't cut it for them sometimes. You know, I got people coming in here. They're giving 800-1s. I'm like, what is going on here?
Well, and this one, it's just Edson Barbosa round 3. And Chase Hooper round 3, 96.50.
That's what I'm saying. That's a banger. Round 3 and round 3 is definitely a banger. All right. 1,452 live viewers. That is definitely a record. Appreciate each and every one of you hanging out with us on a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, wherever you're located. Shout out, most importantly, to my guest that came in on short notice. Came through 2 days notice. He made the weight. He made the plays. And now it's time for him to cash his tickets. Appreciate you, Clint. Thank you very much. Floor is yours here. Shout out whatever you want. His links are down below for his YouTube channel, his Twitter. If you don't follow him, I'm sure all of you do. Go ahead, Clint. Floor is yours.
I appreciate it, Narco. Thank you very much for having me. Thank all you guys for being here and tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button and get sub. Narco is one of the good guys in the space here for sure. And hey, just DieHard MMA Pod. My links are in the description below. I break down all the fights every Monday. I do roundtable guests, so always getting somebody new and different in there. Both Tim and Narco have been on a couple of times. And man, go Vikings. That's all I got.
Go Vikings indeed. We are both Vikings fans. Again, hit the like, please. Subscribe. Also, guys, leave comments, any concerns. anything that you think should be done with the show to upgrade, I'm always listening. I'm always trying to make it better. Sometimes people even put in guests. Hey, can you bring in this guest? Can you bring in that guest? And I try to do it because me and Tim are kind of like, we like to bring in guests on bigger shows like 319, stuff like that. So yeah, thank you again very much to everybody. Appreciate you all. My links are all down below. Also Bet Online, sportsbetting.ag, and appreciate everybody. Thank you very, very much for hanging out with us on a Saturday morning. Good luck today, and let's cash those tickets for UFC 319. See y'all next week.